So we're going to do a little comparison between Google Forms and Qualtrics. So Google Forms is a free tool that anyone can use, and Qualtrics, you need pricing or you need an account through your organisation. Firstly, I'll start with just showing a couple different survey websites that are out there. So a few that I've used before, so Google Forms, SurveyMonkey, Survey Planet, and in this one we'll be using Qualtrics and comparing it to Google Forms. G'day, me again. Today we're going to look at some of the difference between Google Forms and Qualtrics. So they are both survey websites to be able to create surveys. Google Forms is a free account with Google, and you can create forms for free, whereas Qualtrics is a paid software which we can get as Swinburne students free through the Swinburne library. So on both we're going to create a project and we can try and spot out some differences. So go from scratch. So they both enable a name. So you can really easily put a name, you can put a description in both. Qualtrics takes a little bit more process into going through the steps of the survey, but you can edit that normally through each thing. So looking at some of the survey questions, so we can get multiple choice in Qualtrics, and we can also get that in Google Forms. Help, I can't figure out how to add another question. Oh, add question. They've changed it since I last played with it. So we can get short answer in Google. We can find that in as a text entry. Qualtrics text entry versus Google Forms text entry, you might need to put a paragraph for your Google Forms to enable the same amount of text and data to be added. In Google Forms we can add checkboxes as well as multiple choice, so they're very similar. We can do that in Qualtrics as well, if I remember where we are up to. Maybe we can't. Oh no, it's under here. So it's under multiple and select box, or multi-select box. Some other things, a linear scale, some grids, so we can do that in both, which is really sort of easy. So Qualtrics has a slider, whereas Google Forms has just a scale bar. Oh, you can probably get that as well. You can have bars, stars, so you can get a lot more different things in Qualtrics to Google Forms on how to do that. We can then add date times, drop downs, things like that, so we can add a drop down in both. And there's a drill down and a drop down, so very similar. Method of research. So Qualtrics, you can add as many questions as you like. Google Forms only allows 10 questions. So once I get to 10, it'll probably complain that I'm up to my 10 limit. Maybe it's not going to complain. Well, Google Docs only allows 10, which is not really great when you're doing big surveys, but usually is fairly suitable for most small surveys. So for a lot of student surveys, Google Forms is okay. It's something that everyone knows, the interface is really easy, and because it's free, everyone can access it, whereas Qualtrics, as much as you can do a lot more things, you can force responses, or you can request responses, so it's not as sort of invasive and in your face. You can page break, which I'm pretty sure you can do in Google. slides as well. Oh, yeah, add section. So the add section will enable a different page. You can move questions around by just dragging them on here. You can also just move questions by going move question, which makes it sort of easy. Both of them you can import questions from, so we can import questions on Google Docs and we can import questions from Qualtrics. So that looks at previous forms that you've done, is the easiest way to import. And yeah, they are very, very similar. The only difference is then the price point. And I will try and find this price point for you. So I just found that you can get a free account with Qualtrics. You're not going to be able to get as many abilities as you will on a full license, but it looks like you can get a fair amount of data and software in that. And I do have a whole heap of other products, so for customers, employees, products. So Qualtrics is this massive thing. So for most people, it'll be customer experience, to look through a lot of data, be able to visualize data, which is one thing that Google Docs doesn't do well, is visualizing data. So you can get a couple graphs if it is a graphic question, like a multiple choice, but it won't go into in-depth analysis of things. Qualtrics is also designed for phones, which is really good, whereas Google Docs isn't designed for it, but it works okay. But yeah, they're very, very similar. There's 1,000,001 other websites out there as well, so I'll include a list when I find that. And yeah, happy making surveys.